Give me the go-ahead, and then we'll begin. Okay. Do I need to repeat anything, or is that good? Okay. Well, welcome, everyone. So what are the key ingredients? Key ingredients for a scam as follows. They want to create an illusion, urgency. It's got to be right now. You've got to give me that money right now. You've got to go get that gift card right now and get me the information off that gift card. They want you to keep it a secret. Don't tell anyone. I need you to help me out, but you can't tell anyone. There should be no secrets between you and your family, correct? If someone over the phone, a stranger, or someone that believes that they've created a friendship with you over time wants you to keep it a secret, that is a big red flag. Urgency is a big red flag. We want to stay away from that. Scams. The ultimate goal is to convince the victim to turn over money. Each year, we have thousands and thousands of victims, billions of victims across the nation. Loss can be as little as a few dollars to as much as an entire life savings. And they have a very low risk of getting caught. A lot of the scammers are not in the U.S. There are some, but I want you to know that overseas, whether it's the Philippines or India, there's different countries that have, it looks like buildings that are full of telemarketers, except they're not doing good things. They are doing illegal transactions. So they have almost electronic phone books, and that's all they do all day in these call centers, these illegal call centers, where they go down the names and they call. So because they're in another country, they have a low risk of getting caught. Scammers, they'll be so polite. I'm sure some of you have received a call at one point or another, especially those posing as financial people. They'll call and they'll say, "Hello, this is Jill calling from Bank of America." They sound so nice, right? And they try to lure you into believing that they are calling from Bank of America and that they are a true representative from that company when they're not. They're imposters. So just because they sound nice does not mean that they are legitimate. They know your name. They know the names of your family members. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of scammers, they do their research. They will get their information from obituaries. And if you think about it, obituaries list your entire family, right? So if you are the survivor of someone's family, now they know who you're married to, they know who your brothers and sisters are, perhaps the brother that has passed away. Now they know that you might be in a time of grieving, so they play on those emotions when they reach out to you. So they know a lot about you some of the time. Sometimes they know your social security number, or they try to obtain the social security number from you. They know the name of your banks and credit cards. They'll state that they're from your bank or credit card company, as I mentioned earlier. And they'll say that they're doing something for your benefit. You know, "I am here for you, Miss Smith. I'm here to help you. But before I help you, I need to confirm some information from you." Why would they need to confirm any information? If they are your banking entity, or perhaps maybe they're calling and they're stating that they're Lakeland Electric, right? And I don't know if Lakeland Electric would actually is a good example to use in this situation. But if they're calling from your banking entity, claiming to be calling from your banking entity, why would they need to confirm any information? They should have that information already, correct? So that right there is also a red flag. I encourage you that as soon as you hear something like that, hang up. Do not engage with them. They say they are doing something for your benefit. They tell you, "Don't hang up. Whatever you do, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, do not hang up. I just need to talk to you about your account." No, they don't. If you did not engage that phone number, if you did not press the number that's located on your bank statement or on the back of your card, if they called you, that's an automatic I don't trust the person on the other line. I can't verify that that is my banking entity. I keep using banks because that's one example. I'll go over other examples in a little bit. They tell you do not tell anyone because of security purposes, right? They use all these little keywords and these little lines to try to keep this conversation between the two of you. Scammers will ask you to pay money in unusual ways. Gift cards, wire transfers. Quick story. One of the ladies at one of the Publix grocery stores was trying to help a senior one day because she noticed the lady kept coming back and buying gift cards. And she said to the lady that was purchasing the gift cards, "Is everything okay? You've purchased 60 gift cards in 2 days." "Well, I don't want to talk about it. Somebody's in trouble and I need to help them." And so the lady reached out to us from Publix and she said, "I don't know what to do. I'm just afraid that she's being scammed." Well, as soon as she called us, we knew if it involves a gift card and you're reading the number over the phone to the person on that other line, they're being scammed. Anytime someone asks you for a gift card over the phone, for a wire transfer, or if they ask you to participate in Bitcoin, I need you to get Bitcoin. You take your card and you take it to a Bitcoin machine, and then you deposit money into it, which is electronic currency. Don't ever, if anyone ever mentions Bitcoin, please run in the opposite direction. Same thing with the gift cards. That is a huge red flag. The IRS, if they call you, which they don't, but if someone calls you posing as the IRS and they tell you you did not pay your taxes, it's been 2 years or 3 years, we're going to send out a warrant for your arrest, unless you pay by gift card over the phone. You hang up. There is a way to obtain the IRS phone number. There again, do not trust your caller ID. Just because it says IRS does not mean that it's IRS. That is called spoofing. Scammers can interchange words on your caller ID. Sometimes I'm sure you've received a phone call and it says your name on the caller ID. And you think, how in the world could I be calling myself? But it's intriguing because it's your name. And so it makes you want to answer the phone just to see who it could be because it says your name on the caller ID. Same thing, you see, oh my goodness, the IRS is calling me. Don't believe it, that's a scam. They have spoofed the number and the name on the caller ID. Just by a show of hands, has anyone ever heard of that or seen that? Where an entity calls and you know, okay. Let's see here. So as I mentioned earlier, they create that illusion, the sense of urgency and secrecy. Scammers want to create confusion and especially fear. They will claim that if you do not do what they tell you, there will be arrests made, there will be fines and lawsuits. So they try to intimidate you and cause a huge inconvenience to you, okay? They cause victims to disregard things that make no sense. They cause victims to act emotionally, as I mentioned earlier, and they want the victim to act quickly. Why do you think they don't want you to speak to anybody? They don't want you to speak to anybody because they know they're not going to get their money if you speak to someone. So at the beginning of the presentation, I mentioned when you have someone that's either posing as your loved one or posing as your financial institution, and they want to create that sense of urgency. When you slow down, I want you to then find a trusted individual in your life. A trusted individual could be maybe someone that you engage with here that you've known for years, maybe someone that works here, that works in the office. Perhaps you want to speak to your sister or your brother, or maybe another family member, your son or daughter, niece or nephew. But you are in control. Do not let the person, the scammer that contacted you over the phone, be in control. Do not let them cause fear in your life. Does everybody follow me so far? We do not need to act quickly. So I mentioned Lakeland Electric, which I don't believe that one would apply here. IRS, I talked about that one. Computer tech support, that's another one. You might get an email, and we were going to talk about phishing emails, and that is where you receive an email, and it might be allegedly from Microsoft, and it says, you now need to pay money to update your account. Click on this link. As I mentioned before, we don't trust those that call us over the phone, and we certainly don't trust the emails because it might have the logo imprinted in the email. Let's say it could be Microsoft, it could be Target, it could be Netflix, it could be Amazon, but just because it looks legitimate does not mean it's a legitimate email. Everybody follow me on that? So do not click on any links, because if you click on those links, the ones that claim to be like a tech support, they can actually lock up your computer. And then they'll tell you, oh, your computer's locked up. Now you need to pay us $325 or more, or a little less, to unlock it. So that's why I'm saying, if you see anything from Microsoft or any other type of computer software, go ahead and delete it, or you can click on the top right where it says potential phishing email, and it has a little like orange or red hook. You can click on that, or just delete it. You can just go ahead and delete it. Do not click on that. Has anyone here, oh gosh, I get this on a daily basis, the phone call stating that your extended warranty needs to be renewed? I get it every single day. It doesn't matter how many numbers I block, somebody else calls me. Is this Miss Ellis? Your extended warranty is up and we need to renew it. I just hang up. Do not engage, because if you do, now they have your voice. They can record your voice, and later on we'll talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. But the best thing to do is hang up, because telling them, please don't call me anymore, they're not going to listen. They're going to keep calling you, or somebody else will be doing that. So don't waste your breath. The grandparent scam. For those of you that have never heard of the grandparent scam, I know a few years back I was here and that was a topic that we talked about. Grandparent scam, and we're finding they're not doing it during the day so much anymore. They're doing it in the middle of the night. So as we get a little older, and I'm already noticing it's happening to me, your hearing starts to go a little bit. And so you get a phone call in the middle of the night. So now you're a little bit hard of hearing, and you're tired, and you're not aware as much when you're waking up in the middle of the night, correct? So they're calling you. You wonder, oh my goodness, is it one of my relatives? Is everything okay? Let me answer the phone, because typically you don't get calls in the middle of the night. And you answer it, and someone in a very quiet voice, they whisper, Grandma, or they whisper, Grandpa, I'm in trouble. And so all you could get out of this call is that you know that glorious title of Grandma or Grandpa. And you think, oh my goodness, is it my grandchild calling? And your first reaction is to call their name, their first name. You know, you say, Billy? Billy, is that you? Is everything okay? What's going on? Why are you calling me in the middle of the night? Now the scammer has heard the name. Yes, Grandma, it's me, Billy. I'm in a lot of trouble. Can all of you hear me with the mic in the back? So they will whisper out a conversation, and they will try to convince you that they are in trouble and that they need money to either be bailed out or that they're in the hospital. But they'll tell you, don't tell Mom or Dad. This has to stay between us. I highly encourage you to hang up and go ahead and call. If you worry about the fact that it may be them, go ahead and call them. Say, I just got the strangest call. Is everything okay with you? But you've hung up, and you've called the number that you have for your grandchild on your phone. You are in control. You are now transacting that call. Everybody follow me with the grandparent scam? So please don't let it startle you in the middle of the night. That is a scam that is going on. I used to do it during the day, but we've had reports of people doing it at night now. So it completely throws you off. Mind you, these calls, again, some of them are coming from overseas. What if you get a call And they are not whispering. They are talking as clear as day. And you know, oh my goodness, that's my granddaughter calling. How are you doing, sweetie? What's going on? And she tells you, Grandma, I'm on vacation and I need you to send some money. I was on a scooter and I hit a pregnant woman and I'm in jail, but don't tell Mom or Dad because they'll be so upset. But I need you to get some gift cards and read the numbers off them to me. And it sounds just like her. It could be her voice. That is where artificial intelligence is coming in. Scammers are using artificial intelligence to take one word that you might say, you know, somebody calls you sometimes, and you say, hello? And you don't hear anything right away, right? Hello? They can take that hello, and they can make a 2 to 3 paragraph dialogue. It's called voice cloning. So it's just something to think about. So what should you do? Because you're probably thinking, well, Angie, if it's my granddaughter's voice, what am I going to do? What's our password? What's our passcode? Have a password or a passcode amongst your family. Don't tell anybody else what that password or passcode is, because I guarantee you, you're going to hear complete silence when you ask for the family password. Everybody follow me? So before you start getting, emotional and your adrenaline starts, getting all heightened up, ask them, what's our password? And when you hear it goes dead silence, go ahead and hang up. It's not your grandchild. It's somebody posing as your grandchild, utilizing their voice. Anybody here on Facebook? A few of you. I hope that you guys are very careful with the information that you put on Facebook. Now, you might be careful, but maybe the rest of your family isn't. They tell everybody when they're going on vacation. Can't wait to go to the Cayman Islands this weekend. Should you be putting that kind of information on there? Maybe you can put the vacation pictures on there when you come back. But there'll be pictures of the whole family and everybody's name, and they tag you. You know how they do little tags, and it's like Aunt Martha's in this picture, and Uncle Brian's in this picture. So scammers also get their information from Facebook and other different social platforms. So just food to ponder, points to ponder. So we talked about the grandparent scam. Some will ask you to do a check deposit. We don't see that one too often. Home employment, purchasing goods, money mule. The spoofed email, I talked about that a little bit, where they pose as a business entity, and it's not them. Unsolicited phone calls. I want you to know that my parents, who are no longer with me, but they were born in 1925 and in 1929. So my mother was 45 when she was pregnant with me, and my dad was 50. They thought it was a tumor, but that's a story for another day. They taught me, old school. Angie, if the doorbell rings, we answer it. If the phone rings, we answer it, right? That is the customary thing to do. Things were a little bit different in the 80s and 90s for me, as opposed to my friends, because they were raised by a different generation. And so we have these habits of being courteous. If the doorbell rings, we're supposed to go answer it. And if the phone rings, the appropriate action is to answer the phone. So I've had to reteach myself that it's okay if I don't answer the phone. Has that happened to you where you're going, well, the phone's ringing and I've got to answer it? You do not. If you do not recognize that number, you do not have to answer it. Whether it's an 863 number or whether it's the area code from where you grew up or where you used to live. Let it go to voicemail. I want to see, test this one day. Look and see how many calls you get that don't go to voicemail, or they choose not to leave a voicemail for you. I guarantee you that those that don't leave a voicemail were all scammers. And they'll move on to somebody else. But if you do pick up the phone and you say hello, I want you to notice how nobody will say something right away. If you use your hand to hold the phone and your other hand to count. Okay, I'm going to pick it up or press hello, and you count 1, 2, 3. and you don't get a hello by then, that's one of those scam telemarketers. They don't put a live person on the phone until they hear you say hello. So go ahead and hang up. If you must answer that phone, hang up. I hope I explained that well enough for you. That if you don't hear someone immediately, when you say hello, if you don't hear a hello back within 1 second, I guarantee you it's going to take them 2 or 3 seconds because they're trying to get a live person on the phone for you. But it's usually one of the scam telemarketers. Everybody follow me? Okay. So don't feel pressured to engage on the phone with these people, because if they take more than 1 second to say hello, more than likely it's a scammer. Okay, let's see where we are. Home repairs. I don't know how it works here when it comes to home repairs. I know that one person mentioned they have hired someone in the past to do some yard work. Be careful and get references. Make sure that they're licensed and insured when they're doing, work for you. But I think here it's a little different. I'm sure you have a lot of folks here that help you hire who you need to hire, whether it's on the inside or outside of your home. Online dating. Sweetheart swindles. I have seen many sweetheart swindles in the past 11 and a half years. And I'm talking about people in the age from 65 to 99. So if you are on Facebook and you get a message in Messenger on the top right, and you open it, and it happens to males and it happens to females, be careful who you engage with, because remember, that is a stranger that's reaching out to you. Maybe it's a pretty lady. Maybe it's a handsome man, whether they're a young man or an older man, and it piques your curiosity. They will start to engage with you, and they will become your friend, and I put that in quotes. So they will speak to you for maybe sometimes 2 weeks, maybe sometimes 8 months to 9 months. And so you think, this is a legitimate friendship I have. He or she has reached out to you, and they have sent messages to you every single night religiously. And they are so friendly, and they send you pictures of where, and I put in quotes, they live or the vacations they've taken. And I want you to remember that when someone is sending you pictures through Messenger or any other platform, that may or may not be their pictures. And they're trying to build that relationship with you so that at some point or another, they are going to have, and I quote, an emergency. Or they're on an oil rig in the Middle East because they're subcontracted through the U.S. government. They have a long song and dance they're going to, speak to you about. And then at some point or another, they're going to say, oh, I don't have access to my money, and I have an emergency. Could you please send me some money? Could you either wire me some money or go get some gift cards? And all you have to do is give me the number on the back of those gift cards. So just because somebody speaks to you every night or every other night, and they do it for, 8 months to a year, do not believe that they don't have ill intentions behind that. Any questions about that one? I do want you to know, before I forget, that I am just a phone call away. Sometimes I'm out in the field, and sometimes in these open forums, some folks don't feel comfortable talking to me about things that they're experiencing or questions they may have about something they receive in the mail or a phone call or an email. Feel free to call me one day and say, Angie, I have got something that I want you to look at, that I am concerned, I'm not too sure if this is legitimate or not, before I move forward. And I have no problems driving by, meeting you in the lobby and saying, yep, that's not legitimate, that's a scam. Before you take that risk, I do not want anybody in this room to ever become a victim of a scam like that and lose any money. I don't care if it's a quarter. I don't want you to lose any money to these scammers, okay? So let's see here. Sweepstakes. Oh my goodness. I remember when my dad used to subscribe to the Reader's Digest. Does anybody remember the Reader's Digest? Religiously, this man would read the Reader's Digest, And every single time he could, he would fill out the form for the Publishers Clearinghouse. So I have had phone calls where one lady called me and said, Angie, I think I have won $50,000. And deep down inside, I wanted to tell her so bad, it's a scam. But I let her tell me what she received. She goes, no, I received it in the mail, and all I have to do is I've got to pay $2,500, and then I'll receive my winnings. And I said, Publishers Clearinghouse? And she said, yes, it's the Publishers Clearinghouse. I said, did you fill out the paperwork to participate in the Publishers Clearinghouse? Well, no, I didn't. Now to come think about it, I never did fill out any paperwork for the Publishers Clearinghouse. I said, okay, so you received something in the mail that states you won. All you have to do is pay a fee. She said, yes. I said, well, did the camera crew come with the balloons? Because I remember that's the way it used to be. They used to come to the door with the camera crew. No, they just sent me a letter. Okay, so I went over, and she showed it to me. Of course, it's a scam. But it got her to thinking, what were they doing? They were playing on her emotions, on that hope that she had won something. Why on earth would you have to pay, right? Let's stop and think a minute. Why would we have to pay something to receive winnings? When you play the Powerball and you win and you go to Tallahassee, they take what they need to take regarding taxes and fees, right? They don't ask you to pay anything up front. They take whatever you need to off the top of the winnings. So you might have a friend that you come in contact with, and that is my hope that for those persons that weren't here today, perhaps you might reach out to a neighbor or a relative and say, they might say to you, oh my goodness, I won the Publishers Clearinghouse. And you go, wait a minute. Before you send anyone money, I heard about this scam. Share and communicate with others. That is the best way we can stay as an informed community. Okay. Avoiding scams. Oh my goodness, this is the old adage. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Be suspicious of unsolicited phone calls, emails, and text messages. Another big scam that we have been seeing for the past 6 months, text message, you have a toll violation. Now they're starting to send pictures of your plate via text. And so they're really convincing people to send in money. Please do not fall for this. If you have a toll violation, you'll get something in the mail. And it's very official looking. There again, if you ever get one, give me a call. I don't mind swinging by and taking a look at what you get. But yes, I get it about once or twice a week on my phone. So I just delete. Do not click on it, because when you click on a text message on your phone to links, they can extract information. Like if you have any type of banking information on your phone or passwords connected to, like let's say your Amazon account, they might be able to extract that information from your phone. So do not click on any links that come via text message as well, okay? Be suspicious of proposition that is low risk for high return or low cost for high value. Never, ever give your social security number, bank accounts, or other personal information over the phone. That brings me back to, the friendly lady. This is Jill from Bank of America, and I'm calling to confirm your information. You don't need to confirm anything with Jill. If they're calling from your bank, they should know your information. Medicare's another one. That's another scam where they call you, hi, this is Debbie from Medicare, and I just need to confirm some information on your account. No, they don't. You do not need to confirm any information with someone claiming to be from Medicare. Be suspicious if you are asked to pay for something you didn't ask for. Sometimes people will call you, scammers will call you, and they'll say, oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember how their little line goes. It'll come back to me in a little bit. Oh, I remember now. So they'll call you and they'll say, hi, this is John from such and such company. Is this John Smith? And you say yes. They can take that yes, record it, and then later on state that you agreed to some type of contract, which I don't believe that any contracts over the phone are legitimate, but you don't need anyone causing you any issues by stating, oh no, we have you on a recorded line that you agreed to this. So never say yes. And there again, that brings me back to the voice cloning. You don't want anyone cloning your voice. Be suspicious if you are asked to pay for something in gift cards, wire transfer, or cash by mail. Or does anybody here, I don't think any of you Uber or Lyft. Anybody here take Ubers or Lyft? I don't. Be suspicious if you are pressured into making an immediate decision. You've got to do it right now. I need you to do this right now. No, you don't. What did I say? Take a step back, take a deep breath. Do not let anyone pressure you into making an immediate decision. Be suspicious if you are told not to hang up the phone and not to talk to anyone else about it. I think we went over this earlier. It pays to stop and think. Never disclose security details. Don't assume an email, text, or phone call is genuine. I mentioned this earlier. Don't be rushed. And listen to your instincts. You know, sometimes we have that little voice in our stomach, that little, you ever get like it just feels like you have an acidic stomach and something just doesn't feel right? That voice usually doesn't mislead you. Okay, if you get a bad feeling, go with that. Okay, it never misleads you, that little gut feeling. And you want to stay in control. So if you have experienced a loss, because it does happen, you know, you want to first contact your local law enforcement and the Federal Trade Commission to file reports. Federal Trade Commission is ftc.gov. ftc.gov. You can go there on a daily basis to that government website, and they post new scams every day. Every single day they are posting new scams for everyone to stay informed. And I want you to know it's not just the seniors that are targeted in the scams. We have, I think, 41% across the nation of persons that are 20 through 30, they get targeted too, and they become victims. However, they don't have as much money at that point in their lifetime as seniors do in their 60s, 70s, or 80s. So that's why there is a larger loss when it comes to the amount of money in the seniors versus the young population. But they do too have fallen victim to some of these scams, especially the romance scams. Unauthorized transactions. When you receive your bank statement or your credit card statement, I hope you take a fine-tooth comb and look it over every month, whether you do banking online or whether you get that hard statement in the mail. When you're done with does anybody still get hard copies in the mail of their bank statements? If you do, I hope you're shredding them when you're done. Don't just toss them in the garbage can. Don't just rip them in 2 or 3 or 4, because I don't think you guys do any more recycling, correct? Is any recycling done? You just never know who might be a dumpster diver that might be looking through your garbage. So did you know that there's 2 different types of shredders? There is a straight shredder, and then there's the cross shredder. The cross shredder is the one that we encourage everyone to get because it turns papers into confetti. The straight shredder just does long strips of papers that can still be glued together. And some people, some thieves, go to great lengths to try to get your information. But back to reviewing your statements. Why should you review your statements every month? You never know when a scammer might have gotten a hold, or a hacker gotten a hold of your account, and they will test your account to see if you're looking at it. What they do is they'll do a penny transaction or they'll do a dollar transaction. And so they'll come back a few weeks later and then they'll try to do $50 or $60. They'll try to buy something, for example, at Home Depot or at Walmart. So they test your account. So if you go with a fine-tooth comb down your bank statement and you think, well, this is just a penny. I'm not sure what this is. It's probably not a big deal. It is a big deal. You want to go ahead and go to the bank and say, I think I've got some fraudulent activity on my bank account. Okay, has that ever happened to anyone here where you see a penny or a dollar? That's happened to every group that I go to, whether there's 150 or whether there's 10 folks, there's always one or two people that have either known someone that it's happened to or it's happened to them. So that's why I'm saying make sure you look at those bank accounts, statements. And like I said, notify your financial institution immediately. Does anybody here watch? I saw the bank card skimmer thing. Any of you go to get fuel for your vehicles? Okay. All right, then you do? Some of you do get fuel? Okay, when you're getting fuel, if you're using your card at the pump, you'll see there's a tape across the black box next to where you insert your card. Always make sure that red tape, it's a safety tape, that means it has not been tampered with. You want to kind of just make sure that box is not popping out because we want to make sure there's not a skimmer on there. The best thing to do is pay inside, but I know that's sometimes a hassle and it's a lot of walking back and forth. Ladies, when you are getting gas, gentlemen, make sure you lock your car because when your back is turned to putting fuel in your vehicle, somebody can go on the passenger side and take your purse or take, your phone or whatever's on the front console. So just things to ponder. I know it's a lot, and I'm trying not to give you too much, but just enough that you walk out of here knowing a few things that you can pass along to your friends and neighbors too. Let's see, we went over that. Social media. Oh, I've got a great story about this one. Anybody here use Zelle? Zelle or Venmo? Okay, so my supervisor, who I love, she's like a second mom to me. She is like the guru of crime prevention. She has 2 exotic cats. She's always had exotic cats her whole adult life. And she saw a cat or kittens for sale in Georgia. And she used Zelle to put a deposit, right? She did not do her due diligence. We were going to visit someone, a person that needed some help one day, and she said, oh, Angie, I'm so excited. I got to show you a picture of my kitten that's going to be shipped to me. And I said, oh, so she shows me the picture, and I said to her, how did you find out about this kitten? And she said, oh, I found it on the internet. And she's been doing crime prevention for 35 years. But see what happened, her emotions, the picture, the cute kitten. She thought that because she found it on the internet and saw the pictures, she didn't continue to do her due diligence. She didn't research it enough. And I said to her, how do you know this is a legitimate website? And she said, well, she had lots of kittens, and then she had that aha moment where she stopped and she said, oh my goodness, you're right. How do I know? She had already sent via Zelle a deposit of $200, and then the person came back and said to her, oh, now I need a crate fee because it was going to be crated and transported via airplane. And she used Zelle, and she said that when she went to try to find her on Facebook, she couldn't find her on Facebook, and when she went back to the website, there were no, where people can give you different reviews. There were no reviews. So at this point, she's out like, I don't know, I think it was $600 or $700. And thank goodness it only got to that because I think the cat was going to be about $1,200. So anyway, she calls the lady while I'm with her, and she said, I know that you wanted me to send another fee, but I'm just questioning my transaction with you. And she said, I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't know who you are. You've got the wrong number, and hung up on her. So my supervisor calls Zelle, the company, and calls her banking entity. And they said, oh, you're out this money. It's not our fault that you didn't do your due diligence. You chose to send money to this person via Zelle. So always make sure that you know what their rules and regulations are. After that, she's no longer using Zelle. But in their defense, she should have done her due diligence, right? What do you think? I can kind of see it from both angles, but it goes to prove that it doesn't matter how much experience you have with scams or crime prevention. We're human. We're human, and we can make mistakes sometimes. And so I share that story because she shouldn't be embarrassed. You know, she feels that she should have known better, but she saw the pictures of the kitten, and it just tugged at her heart, and she thought it was legitimate. So there again, remember I told you earlier, don't believe the pictures you see, because I can go on the internet right now, and I can take a bunch of pictures and copy them, and then I can paste them into my own Facebook profile or messages, correct? So just points to ponder. Talk to you about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. That's money that you don't ever touch. It's electronic money. If it's up to you, but we highly suggest you stay away from Bitcoin. Once you put your money into one of those, it's like an ATM type of machine, you will never, ever get it back. Here's some more. So the FBI says 10 billion lost to online fraud in 2022 as crypto investment scams had surged. So that's from 2022. The numbers have gone up since. And then also in March 13th, 2023, they've just surged. And then remember we talked about skimmers on the gas pumps. There's also skimmers at ATMs. I highly suggest, not on all ATMs, but on some ATMs, I highly suggest if you have to do a bank transaction or get some money out, go ahead and go inside to your bank. Sometimes at Publix, I will ask for, like $20 cash back. But you're doing that transaction at the cashier and you're safe inside, so they don't have a skimmer on their register. So you're pretty good to go inside, somewhere like that. But bank transactions should be conducted inside your bank. Identity theft. That is when someone uses your identity to open accounts, purchase goods, carry out other financial transactions, or even obtain medical treatment. So how do you recognize identity theft? Letters, phone calls from business or financial institutions that you have not done business with before. If people start reaching out to you and they're telling you, oh, you applied for this, and you're thinking to yourself, I didn't apply for a loan, or I didn't apply for some mortgage. You need to get a copy of your credit report. Every year, you can get a free credit report. Start looking at your credit report every year and make sure that no one has opened anything up in your name. And you can do fraud alerts or alerts every time someone or you initiate something on your credit. You can get an alert. So there is a way to set that up. Notification from businesses and or collection agencies about outstanding delinquent accounts. There's also a way to freeze your credit where no one can open anything on your credit. You can contact Equifax or TransUnion for that. Sometimes credit cards and other financial accounts unexpectedly close, or credit card use is denied. So if you use your credit card and all of a sudden it's denied, maybe your bank is aware that there has been some type of fraud on your account. If you get a call from your bank and they say, oh, your card has been compromised, can you really tell if that's your bank calling? You can hang up. I've done it. I've had my bank call me and say, oh, your account's been compromised. We're going to issue you a new card. I've hung up. I've called the number on the back of my card or the card on my bank statement and said, hey, I just got this call. One time it was legitimate, one time it was not. So it's best for me to be in control and call the number on the back of my card or on my bank statement. Make sense? Unexpected low or no balance in bank accounts. There again, review your bank accounts. And if you suspect identity theft, check your free annual credit report from Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And that is where you can get a free one. It's www.freecreditreport.com. This will show your accounts that are opened in your name. This will also show delinquent accounts and accounts that are in collection. Like I said earlier, you can choose to freeze credit with all 3 credit bureaus if you choose to, which means if somebody were to try to open something in your name, they wouldn't be able to. Identity theft recovery, first you have to make a report with law enforcement, then make a report with the Federal Trade Commission, close compromised bank accounts, and remember to change your passwords. Your passwords should be changed often, at least every 30 days, 60 days. It's just a good practice. Identity theft recovery, report the identity theft to credit reporting bureaus, place a credit alert on your identity. They can help you with that. Notify businesses where your identity has been fraudulently used. Like, let's say maybe they used it at Home Depot. You need to let them know, hey, I want you to know that a purchase was made here and it wasn't by me, but they have cameras. And so when a report is done to the police department, they would go there and obtain that footage. But it's good to let them know that it was the transaction where it was done. Notify any collection agency about the theft of your identity. These notifications should be in writing, sent via certified U.S. mail. The Federal Trade Commission provides sample letters. This is a really good website. Federal Trade Commission allows you to make a report online, and if you go to www.identitytheft.gov, that is where you can do that. And they have a whole plan on identity theft recovery, which I hope you never have to do. Avoiding identity theft. Don't allow others to have access to your personal information. Pay attention to who is around you when you're conducting financial transactions. There is nothing worse I hate than if I'm at a bank in line and it's my turn to go up to the teller and somebody is shoulder surfing over me. And it's okay to turn around and say, excuse me, I'm sorry. Could I please have, a few steps away from you? I'm just trying to conduct, my business privately. So they should be respectful of your, your bubble, okay? Same thing if you ever have to go to an ATM, be careful of shoulder surfers. Those are people that try to look over your shoulder and see what your PIN is and what you're doing or how much money you're getting out of that machine. You shouldn't carry your Social Security card with you. Sometimes those get stolen. Some people leave it in their vehicle. Let's say you're shopping. Be careful of having your purse, your pocketbook in the front seat of the buggy. I've seen a lot of ladies do that. They go in the frozen section, they go for the peas, and then before you know it, somebody's walked away with your wallet that had your Social Security number in it, and sometimes they walk away with your keys. So that purse should be on you, and I always recommend a crossbody purse, where your purse is in front of you and you're in control of it. Not behind you, not to the side of you, but a crossbody purse, not too big, not too small, but there again, try not to carry your Social Security card with you. Report lost or stolen IDs, Social Security cards, credit cards, and bank cards immediately. Yes, please do not wait to report those. Don't allow others to have access to your personal information. Pay attention to who is around you when you are conducting financial transactions. A lot of these we've already gone over. Let's see. Uh-oh. What happened? Usually I have, Let's see. That's it. That was the end. That was the end of the presentation. I'm so sorry. I thought I had one more slide on there, but I know this is a lot of information, and I'm glad that it is recorded where you can kind of go back and say, now, what did she say about that identity theft website and Federal Trade Commission? But I hope that if you ever feel pressured, you hear my voice in your head saying, Angie told me to stay in control. They are not in control of me, and I do not need to feel pressured into saying yes right now or giving anybody money, especially in gift cards. The minute someone says gift cards, red flag. Wiring money, red flag. Scammer. Associate those with a scammer. Do you have any questions? I know some of you might have questions that you might feel more comfortable talking to me, and I will be sticking around afterwards. If you want to speak to me, that's fine. But anything you want to share with anyone? The Q&A session. Yes, ma'am.
Just share one.
Would you like the microphone so we can hear you?
My brother was a victim of a Facebook scam, and I was aware of it, but I didn't realize the depth of it, and he had a son who also didn't realize the depth of it. Now, he had a foster son he was taking care of who was his accountant and bookkeeper who just didn't recognize the signs. My brother was up in years, high 80s, and he was getting gift cards and sending, and then reading the numbers to somebody. And we found shoeboxes full of these gift cards when he passed away. We added them up, and we figured it was probably $1 million. He had remortgaged his home, which at one time was paid for. He had maxed out all of his credit cards. It was really something. And we both jumped on. The foster son says, "My God, it was right in front of your face. Couldn't you see what was happening?" He just ignored it. He just figured that my brother knew what he was doing and ignored it. So when he died is when all of this surfaced. And I was aware of it, but the way he would tell it to me, it was like, "Oh, I sent him a birthday present," or whatever. And I thought, well, he can afford an occasional birthday present here, there, whatever. If it makes him feel good, okay. Never did I realize the depth of what had happened.
It is very sad, and I've had family members reach out to the police department, and we get involved. We speak to the person, and we say, "Hey, your daughter or your nephew has called us, and when they were visiting you, they noticed that you have a large amount of gift cards. It sounds like maybe you've been reaching out to someone." And they've admitted to us that they have a friend online, and that it's none of our business, and that they are choosing to have this friend, and we cannot tell them not to do it, because if they have their faculties, it's very difficult for family or law enforcement to tell them what they can and cannot do. That's one of the reasons that I love speaking to folks and saying, it's a scam. They're not truly interested in a genuine friendship or relationship. They are just using you. And I've seen people sell their cars so that they could go get gift cards. And I love that you guys are in this community where you have so many activities and you don't have a chance to sit and stay idle and be lonely, because having those activities and communicating with everyone and staff, a lot of the folks that do this are lonely, especially at night, 11 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. And so they fear, well, if I don't give them the money, then I'm not going to have someone to talk to. And I've seen it happen to someone twice, and this is what she shared with me. She says, "I just want to have someone to talk to at 10 o'clock, and if that's what I have to do." And I'm like, no, you don't. You can talk to other folks in your community. You can, call one of your relatives, but no one has the right, to take advantage of someone like that. Quick little story, one of our female officers was on a dating website, and she was talking to this gentleman online for 6 months, and it's not that anything's wrong with the dating website, it's some of the folks that use the website. And she said, I've been talking to this person, I think it was 3 months or 6 months, and everything was going well, and we were gonna meet, and then he said to me, "By the way, I'm a little low on funds," to an officer. He knew she was an officer, but that goes to prove that he thought he can pull on her heartstrings and that she would send him $25 or $50 or $100. And she said, "I'm sorry, you must have forgotten the line of work that I'm in." But he thought they had gotten to a point where he could manipulate her into sending money. And she's in her 30s. So it can happen to anyone. So be very careful, continue to speak to each other. If you have a neighbor that maybe is not as active as you, reach out to them. Maybe they need a friend, and that can help avoid them from becoming a victim of financial scam. So if you have any other questions, I'll be around. Again, I want to thank Wendy for inviting me here today. It is a pleasure to speak to all of you, and I just hope that you all remember the red flags that we talked about today. And if you ever get something in the mail via text or a phone call, or somebody starts threatening you about sending them money, give me a call. And if it's late at night or early morning and you can't get in contact with me, go ahead and call the police department. We'll send out an officer to talk to them. We get scams at the police department all the time where they call in, and it's like, do you know you're calling a police department? It happens everywhere, but stay in control. Thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it.
One last thing. Next Tuesday, August 5th, I believe, we have our National Night Out Day. So we will have visiting dignitaries and members of the Lakeland Police Department joining us for breakfast. It is an annual tradition, and that it's going to be at 8 o'clock on the 5th. It's in My W Life, and it's been posted. It should be in the newsletter that's coming. So we hope that you'll all join our lovely police department representatives for breakfast that morning. Spread the word, because we would love to have as many residents come and greet them as possible. Thank you. All right, everyone, have a great day.